Clap your hands, everybody. The Stepover podcast has just started. What is up, everybody? It is the Stepover podcast. This is the first podcast that promises they will step over Ty Lue. That's right. I have a goal. I've decided to have a mission statement and be a goal-oriented show. I am now taking over the helm of having a podcast that has a mission for Connor Ratliff. Connor has done it. If you're not familiar with Connor Ratliff, go listen to Dead Eyes immediately. But he did it. He met Tom Hanks and he had the conversation. So I've decided I'm going to have a goal, and it is to step over Tyronn Lue. Not in I love Ty Lue. I think he's awesome. Big fan. And it will not be in a demeaning way. It will be in a very friendly, cool way. Or even if it's just by accident. Even if hopefully one day we're at an AMC movie theater together. And I got to get up and go get popcorn. I'm going to step over him. Or, maybe we're in a tight hallway in a business facility, and I'm gonna have to step over him. That it's gonna happen. We here at the Stepover, one day we're gonna step over Ty Lue, and until then, we will talk about basketball every day till we get there. Oh my gosh, what a fun day of games yesterday. Honestly, this week it's been pretty cool. This is usually I feel like the winding down portion of the season. Teams are resting, getting ready for the playoffs, but stuff's been happening, which is cool. There's a huge race in the East again to take over the number one spot now that Miami's sort of faltering, and I'm gonna get through all this. I'm just gonna go over what we're gonna discuss this episode. On this episode of the podcast, oh my gosh, Sixers-Lakers recap. The Heat fight infighting in South Beach. We're going to talk Grizzlies. We're going to talk Boston being a juggernaut since January. We're going to talk how interesting Atlanta has been. We're going to go over how fans like me and you are bad. Not necessarily me and you, but fans in general and fan culture is just bad. So bad. We're gonna talk Chris Paul. We're gonna talk stupid Eric Adams lifting COVID protocols. That's crazy. I can't believe that happened. And then we're gonna talk some playoff predictions, some March Madness a little bit, touch on that, and then I got an article up of some potential trades for next season. Because man, I'm a trade guy. I love some trades. I don't like football, but I am very interested in every trade that's been happening. All this weird, this quarterback goes there. Carson Wentz is traded to the Commanders. Whatever. Russell Wilson, that was huge. Him in Denver. That's a pretty good move. God, that's good for Russell Wilson. Getting a big paycheck in two awesome cities like Seattle and Denver. That's real fun. God, I love trades. I'm so into trades. I think that's why I don't like college basketball too much outside of March Madness, because you can't transfer schools really, or if you do, it hurts your career kind of. And didn't that happen to Duncan Robinson? Maybe. I know he was D1 and then he had to transfer D3. I think whatever. Here's the thing. The show is starting now. We're talking Sixers, baby. We clapped our hands, everybody, last night for a pretty good win against the LA Lakers, who showed up. This was the best Laker game, honestly, I've seen from the supporting cast in a while. I'll quickly go through some of the Lakers play. Oh my gosh, Dwight Howard. It was kind of really fun seeing Dwight Howard get 24 points. I didn't like that he was cooking Embiid. That was crazy. That was pretty unbelievable. But it was fun seeing Dwight. I like that Russ has his confidence. Again, he shot 50%. Definitely didn't hold my breath every 3 he took. Though he made 2. He made 2 out of 5. That's really good for how he's been performing this season. And then who was that? When Gabriel showed up, he got 8. Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson really like the first quarter went 5 for 5. It was unbelievable. And I guess he played 35 minutes. I was gonna say they could have kept passing it, but he only took 7 shots. And he made all 5 of his shots in the first quarter, and then he only took 2 more after that. That's a shame. They should have passed it to him more. He had a lot of assists, 8. Good for Stanley Johnson. It was a good game from him. Carmelo had 20. It was a pretty cool, I hope Lakers fans at least get a little solace in that. But I knew it going in, even without LeBron James. I was like, man, we're gonna win this game by 3 points, aren't we? And Sixers, they were like, hey there, we're going to win by 5. Unreal in a pretty good game from the Sixers in general, except for just like a really sluggish third quarter. This just keeps happening with Doc Rivers. He's like, we're up, guys. It's the third quarter. We're up by 15. Let's just fall asleep. Don't even worry about this. We're planning Nobu reservations. We're just going to hang. I'm back in LA. I'm going to see my friends. But he just does this every game. It doesn't even matter. It's so frustrating that this team just can't, just put rest when we're up by 15 in the fourth quarter, Keep it going. Keep the momentum going. Don't rest everyone and it's like, oh shoot, it's the last 7 minutes. We better try. Gosh, what an amazing team that plays very sillily. But really, really convincing performance from a lot of these guys. Tobias, I think, is really finding his rhythm with James Harden and being like the bench unit guy, just showing out when Joe and Harden need to rest. He's really, I think he's coming into his own, hopefully, and he's taking more. He took 5 shots from the 3, great, made 2 of them. That's great. He's got to keep catching shooting. His defense is looking pretty great, and I want Toby to succeed. Oh my gosh! And speaking of people I want to succeed, Furk is slowly getting back in the rotation. He made none of his 3-pointers, but he was 3 for 4, and he scored 6 points. Okay, well, still good. He still had some good. He looked really good out there. Had a rebound, had an assist. Just looked solid. I just want him to get back to normal because he's gonna. I was texting some people last night, but he's gonna win a playoff game for us. He's really gonna be a guy who, once everyone's on Harden and everyone figured out how to cover everyone in a late playoff series, Furk getting 10 would be really huge for this team. Shake is getting some more minutes. Thibault is only took 1 3 and missed, but I think he can take more. But he had a great alley-oop to just close the game, which was real nice. That James to Joel, and then Joel lobbed it to Matisse. Fantastic. What was I was listening on a podcast? They're saying if Matisse just plays like not Kendrick Nunn. Who's that guy? He's on Chicago now. Derrick Jones Jr. If he just plays like Derrick Jones Jr. and he just drives and dunks, catches lobs and dunks, just keep constantly doing that, Matisse, and then and he's so successful doing that, and he did it. And the 2 times he did it, he made both those shots. Maxey, he's the man. He is truly the franchise. Tyrese Maxey, I want to, there should be a commission in Philadelphia to just, let's raise money as a community to pay this man. We need to. This man needs so much of our funds. I don't care about streets anymore. Give it all to Tyrese. He is the man. That Miami Heat win was unbelievable. I didn't watch that game because I was just sure like, okay, we're gonna lose. No Joe, no Harden. Okay, if we're against the number 1 seed and Jimmy Butler's back, like that's I was like, I'll watch the recap later. And then that fourth quarter, if you haven't seen it, just watch that fourth quarter highlights of Tyrese Maxey. Just really steps up. First option Tyrese Maxey is one of the greatest players of all time. He truly is. He's just an unending source of energy. His smile is so contagious. He's a leader already. His improvement from like just this year, from the beginning of the season where it was like you have to step up and be our main point guard, to now is unbelievable. He's grown so much, and yeah, I just think it's so cool watching everyone be so proud of this kid because he deserves it. He's amazing. What else to talk about this win? Yeah, I mean, like, all in all, it was a pretty good win, but like it's just weird when like some of these games where it's like we should be like blowing out the Lakers without LeBron. Even though, like the other guys did show up, so like that was fun, but like it's like if it's I don't know. I don't want to get too doomsday. It's a regular season game. They were playing off a time difference, it was late. They're coming in from the East Coast. It's the end of the year. They're all tired, but it's not fantastic to see, it's a team that we should be winning by 20, and it's like, it was a little close there near the end, but then we pulled ahead. But glad a win's a win. Can't complain. Let's talk about the Heat. The Miami Heat have been on a real downswing lately. I'll even check the standings because I believe there are 3 teams that are only 1 game back. Yes, the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Celtics are all 1 game back now from the Miami Heat after they lost to the undermanned Sixers, and they lost last night to a Steph, Draymond, Clayless Warriors team that kicked butt. And that was so fun. I mean, like, I can't think of a time pre 2000. A time post like 2000 where like the coach is like ready to fight a player. That was pretty wild to see. Like, that's when has that ever happened? I would love to see examples. If people could send me examples of coaches and players just ready to fight each other in a game, not in a locker room. There's stories like that, and people throwing things at each. What was that J.R. Smith threw like soup at an assistant coach, like nothing like that. Like in game, like when was the last time that happened? It's pretty wild. They'll be fine all in all, and I think I was listening to No Dunks today when I woke up. I was cleaning the house. This is sort of the first time that Jimmy Butler has, obviously people were like, oh, the Jimmy Butler thing's happening. Oh, Jimmy Butler, he's gonna try to strong arm everyone, and then they're gonna have to kick him out because that's the Jimmy Butler thing. But this is the first time where the organization's like kind of being like, oh yeah, like you have issues, like we're gonna step up, like we're gonna fight back, and it's like maybe that's all he wants is for someone to fight back and like actually talk these things through with him, like instead of like it felt like in the past it was like Jimmy was like with Minnesota he was like, man, everyone here sucks and we're really stuck in some bad ways. This sucks, and then everyone was like, get out of here. They made a hasty trade with Philadelphia. And then same with Philadelphia. It was like Jimmy was like, I'm calling everyone out. Brett Brown, Joel, like everyone, like, and Joel is a guy who responds to that, and he was like, great, I'm gonna step up, and I really like this energy, and they worked really well together. But Ben clearly isn't the most responsive to criticism, and neither is Brett Brown. And the organization just kind of went in the way of like, I mean, like that's the story, I believe, that that has been reported is that the Sixers essentially asked Ben Simmons, like, who do you like, Toby or Jimmy? And he was like, I work with Jimmy better. I work with Tobias better. I don't like Jimmy. And they're like, great, he's gone. We'll trade him for Josh Richardson, who will turn into Seth Curry, who will turn into James Harden. Ended up being a pretty good trade, actually. Now that all... that is nuts. I love seeing posts like that are like, the Sixers traded Seth Curry and Andre Drummond for James Harden. Like, that's kind of all they traded. Because right now, it's looking like the Ben Simmons isn't going to play. And what, his first day, like, best case scenario right now, it looks like he might play like 10 minutes in the playoffs. Like every game he'll play 10, but that seems to be an immense pressure on the guy. Like, I feel like these last bunch of games should have been he should have played last night against the Grizzlies, and I'm going to talk about that now. This is my smooth transition into talking about that game. But yeah, I hope he's okay. I hope his back isn't seriously hurt. I want him to be playing, but it's just wild when you zoom out like that. But it's like, this man hasn't played in almost a year, almost a full calendar year, and he got traded for James Harden. That was a pretty good trade. Pretty good trade. So let's talk about that game. The Grizzlies, man, they're so cool. They're such a fun team. That's maybe what I'm... Side tangent. I'm now going to think of teams. If you could have a cool sleepover. You're in middle school. You're having a cool sleepover with a team. A current NBA team. I'm picking the Grizzlies or the Phoenix Suns. Those are like the two vibiest teams to like want to hang out with. Like, oh my gosh, could you imagine going to a water park with the Memphis Grizzlies? That would be the most fun day ever. Hershey Park with the Memphis Grizzlies would be just sick. That'd be everyone having a great time, eating soft pretzels, running around, going on the log flume. Tell me that's not a great day. Tell me that's not one of the better days of all time. You tagged along with the Grizzlies at a water park. That sounds sick. Gosh, that team is really good. They're really deep. They drafted so well. Just all those guys are great. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. He's like, that was the stuff I saw like the beginning of the season. I was like, this guy's got to really step up to like be a supporting member for Ja Morant, and he has. His defense development has been unbelievable. Like, he shut down Kevin Durant and Kyrie. He swatted away like 3 Kyrie shots in crunch time, and then they pulled ahead and they won by like what, 10? I'll have to look how much they won by, but I believe it was definitely by like 10ish. The NBA.com is making me sign in. I don't want to sign into my account because I don't need to. Yeah, we won. We won. I'm on the Grizzlies now because I went to the water park with them. I now play small forward. The Grizzlies won by 12 for their 50th win of the season. And that was the stat they showed after the game. It was like, it was the 5th time in franchise history they've ever had 50 wins. Awesome. And without Ja Morant, and yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr. just so cool. What a good team win. Yeah, good for Memphis. It'd be so cool to see them get to the Western Conference Finals. I can't see them beating Phoenix, but because what was it last year? Who did they? Oh yeah, they lost to They got one game, but they lost to Utah last year, and that's not going to happen this year. You put Utah next to the Grizzlies. Grizzlies are beating Utah. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people on Utah that could stop. Like, Utah's defense outside of Rudy Gobert is doo-doo. And I'm gonna get into that right now because Utah lost real bad last night. They stunk it up in the city of Boston. That was, well, how much did they lose by? I'm looking at, oh my gosh, 125-97. Like, that's unreal. That's unreal. They just don't know what, I mean, how many points? Donovan Mitchell had to score 37 and they lost by 30. Like, man, no one else really, yeah. Rudy Gobert got 14. I feel like that's a pretty good game for him. He doesn't get much more than 10 a game. They got that guy Eric Paschall, who's good. He got 11. That's cute. Him and Eric and Donovan Mitchell, I believe, went to high school together. Outside of that, no one's scoring. Jordan Clarkson got 10, but he's their sixth man. Mike Conley didn't really. Yeah, that team is just, they're a great regular season team. They just can't do it in the playoffs lately. And then this year especially is like, this seems like the most glaringly bad season that they've had. And they're going to have to do something. Because, like, you know, I would invest everything in Donovan Mitchell. But they paid Rudy Gobert. It's going to be hard to trade Rudy Gobert for someone comparable and with that sized contract. And, yeah, it's like, could they lose Donovan? I heard a bunch of rumors that the coach is probably going to be the first one out this year. Like, they'll probably fire him. They're the 4th seed right now. But they're basically tied with Dallas, and Dallas could definitely pull ahead. All right, Denver's out of the play-in. That's good. I just love looking at the dang standings, my dude. You know what I'm talking about? I love looking at these numbies. Looking at GBs, games back. My favorite stuff. Streak. Ooh, they're on a 2-game losing streak. The old UTs. The old UTIs. The Utah Tract Infections. That'd be a more fitting name than the Jazz. Should they change the name? That's a random thought, but like, come on, like, it's like the silliest. Like when you hear Utah Jazz, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Like, one time I just said to Caroline one day, like, around when we were first dating, it was like a big game. It was that game last year when the Sixers won in overtime against Utah. And it was when they were both the number 1 seeds, and I was like, this is gonna be the finals, like, preview. Like, I just imagined, I was like, this is gonna be the finals for sure. And they went in overtime, and I told her, I was like, yeah, it's the Utah Jazz. And she went, no, what? It's the silliest name. It's sillier than the LA Lakers. Because at least with LA Lakers, it's sort of, what do you call that? Dang it, 3 letters at the same time. Whoa. My English teachers in middle school would be really mad. I don't know this right now. Alliteration. Take that, Mrs. Howard. I know it. Alliteration. Yeah, because LA Lakers is a little alliteration, and it sounds cool. And sure, there's no lakes. There's a reservoir. Oh, there's a Silver Lake. They should be called the Silver Lakers. Yeah. LA Lakers is cool. And it's also like, they've been a winning team. So, who cares? New Orleans Pelicans. Thank goodness. I love that little, like, I love just sweet, dumb sports stuff like that. Where just, like, the Charlotte Hornets, after they were the Bobcats, were like, hey, can we have our name back? Pelicans, or New Orleans. Like, I know you guys are the New Orleans Hornets now, and that's the organization, but, like, can we just, do we have to buy it from you? Can we switch? And they're like, nah, you can just have it back. And then with the Pelicans, which is a more fitting name. I love Pelicans. The logo should be, though, a pelican, or, no, the logo should be Brandon Ingram reverse dunking a basketball into a pelican's beak. That should be a t-shirt. I don't know why that's not out yet. I guess because that imagery is animal cruelty, but fun to think about. Maybe on the t-shirt, the pelican would be going with a thumbs up and going, I'm okay, and I love this. So, anyway, Utah Jazz has a terrible name, and right now, I'd be surprised if they'd get out, because right now they'd be facing Dallas in the playoffs in the first round. And they're not winning that series. Like, I don't think so. Right? They're not winning that. And then if they fall, if Utah falls, two more, they'd be playing the Warriors. They're the 6th seed. Or they'd be playing Memphis. They keep falling to the 7th. And then even if Denver gets up to the 5th seed, like they can't beat Phoenix, they can't beat Dallas, they're not going to beat Denver, they're not going to beat Golden State, and they can't beat Memphis. They would be better off. And then they can't get to 1 or 2 at this point. Unless, Memphis really falls off, but I don't think that's happening, as I've talked about. They look great. And anyway, I'll stop picking on Utah because I love Donovan Mitchell. I have his shoes. I love those shoes, and I haven't even worn them because I've been saving them for an indoor gym. I've been like, I don't want to scuff these. They're so cool, and they glow in the dark. There's a Spida senses. They look so cool. And now I'm going to talk about the freaking Boston Celtics, a team I strongly dislike, but also strongly like. I hate the franchise, the Boston Celtics, as a Sixers fan, just because of that deep-seated rivalry since the days of yore. Back in ancient Greek times when Philadelphia and Boston were mortal enemies. Back when we had Zeus and Poseidon on the Sixers, and they had the Roman gods, and they cooked us with Bill Russell. Bill Russell would cook Zeus. If we got a super team of Greek gods, Bill Russell would cook them. So that's the thing. Like I hate the organization Boston Celtics, but I like a lot of their famous players. I like Bill Russell. I like Larry Bird. I like Paul Pierce. I think he's funny. And then I don't like that. It's the 2008 championship. It's like they can maybe calm down about that a little bit. We get it. You won in 2008. They talk about it all the time, but I don't know. No, I ever talk about it all the time. That's like when the Phillies won the 2008 World Series. I never shut up about that. All right, I'm just being bitter. Good for you, Boston fans. Enjoy that. But this team currently, I love these guys. I don't watch a lot of Boston Celtics games because it honestly makes me scared. Like, I get scared by these guys because I think about them facing against my nice boys, the Sixers. And I'm like, dang, these guys are good. Dang, Time Lord is good. Dang, Marcus Smart is good. Dang, Robert, I already said Time Lord. Dang, Jaylen Brown is amazing. And oh my gosh, one of my favorite players of all time is Jason Tatum. If he didn't play for Boston, I would have a jersey. He's so incredible. And he should be in MVP conversation. Especially these last, since January, their record is something crazy, because they were the 7th seed, and then they've practically have just been winning since January. They've lost a handful of games since January. It's been really fun, and they could be the 1 seed. I don't think the Sixers should be the 1 seed because I think we'd have a better seeding if we didn't face Brooklyn or. Well, I guess if we were the 1 seed, if we were the 1 seed, we'd be fine. Because then we would face off against Charlotte or Atlanta. But I don't want to go through Atlanta again. I know they're worse this year, but it's just terrible. I'd have terrible flashes of last year's playoffs. Yeah, personally, I'd love it if we were the 3rd seed and we played Cleveland, or honestly the 4th seed and we play Chicago. Those are the 2 matchups I really want. But right now, I don't like being the 2 seed because we're going to face either Toronto or Brooklyn, and it's probably going to be Brooklyn. And I don't want to do that. That would be bad, I think. Personally, I would not like that. So, Boston good, man. Boston good. Congrats to the Bostons. You are good. Speaking of Atlanta, I'm going to get to them now. Is they're weird. Honestly, maybe I would want to face them this year because it's like, some days it's like, oh, they played the Knicks and Trae Young went for 40 something. And then they lost to the Pistons by 20? They just kind of keep doing stuff like this where it's like they'll beat a really good team and they'll lose terribly 8 games in a row and then they'll win a bunch really cool and they look really tight as a crew and just like high chemistry, and then some days it looks like none of them like each other and they hate being there. And it's just weird. I kind of don't want to talk about them for too long because they're still a young team. They got stuff to figure out. And then later in the episode, I'm going to talk about 5 potential trades, which the thing had John Collins as the picture. I'm going to cold read this Bleacher Report article. I've not looked at it yet. I just got excited about trades. And I'll move into some more just topical stuff now. Let's just talk about fans being bad. Gosh, I imagine everyone saw that video of that 16-year-old telling Yusuf Nurkic that his grandma is not proud of him or whatever, like his grandma sucks. What is wrong with you? What goes through a person's brain that would make someone do that? Like, heckling during a game is one thing. To yell something like, man, you Nurkic, you suck, because they're actively playing right now. And whatever, they're posting up against your favorite player, and then maybe they score, or they don't score, and you yell something like, you suck. That's one thing. But to yell at him while it looked like it was shoot around. It was before the game. He's on the court, this fan. So he paid all this money, or his dad paid all this money so he could go there and yell at a guy who's injured, who's in a suit, who's there to support his team, and just yell very personal stuff that he's still going through. He's still reeling in from the death of his grandma. And I just can't wrap my head around people doing that. And it makes me really sad. Don't throw popcorn on players. Don't spin on. Oh my gosh! Speaking of Atlanta, God, that was terrible. Honestly, that was really fun. Atlanta kicking New York's ass because fans should be illegal. Fans. I was listening on the flagrant ones today. God, I just listen to basketball content. Okay, I should listen to an opera. I should read a book. No, I like listening to stuff like that. So, but they were talking about just seating should be differently. Obviously the NBA makes a lot of money from you can sit on the court for $5,000 and they make a ton of money doing that, but there should either be more security, the benches should be somewhere else, they shouldn't be that close to the fans. At this point it's getting a little scarier. Fans, some reason, think they can do whatever they want, and we need to protect these players. Yusuf Nurkic shouldn't be fined for throwing that guy's phone, which also, people said throwing. He tossed it, maybe. He just took his hand out to hey, you're not going to protect yourself behind a phone. You are a person and you said something to me, another person. It just so sad. Just such a bummer. Why would people do that? Why? You live your life. Don't be a dick. Fans are so bad. And then on Twitter today, I gotta delete Twitter, but then every once in a while you see an amazing tweet like the woman who did stand-up comedy at an AMC theater. If you haven't seen that video, man, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's awesome. I don't think anyone should heckle her. Just experience the best situation ever, which is that, oh God, that's so wild that person did that. And I would have enjoyed every minute of her terrible stand-up. That's so funny. But anyway, so yeah, Twitter shows you great things like that. But then today, Draymond Green was just talking about just how, wow, it's so cool that LeBron is now second of all time scoring. And And that's awesome. And I want to be there, like, when, it happens, and probably, next season, probably late next season, he's going to be the all-time leading scorer, which is nuts that anyone could even touch that record. He's right there. He's going to do it in a season or two. And Draymond Green was like, man, that'll be so exciting. I'm going to miss a Warrior. Like, hey, Steve Kerr, if we're playing that day, I'm going. I'm going to go and see it. Which, yeah, like, that'd be so cool. I would love to try and see that. But, I mean, I imagine tickets will be $1 million. They'll be so expensive. But that would be history seeing. And then, like, everyone commenting on that video, like, from his podcast saying that, was calling him, like, a bitch and a dick rider and, like, all this stuff. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. He's not a dick rider for wanting to miss a regular season game to see his friend and finals opponent for, like, the better part of a decade do history. Do history. The man is doing the history. It's insane. I just why do we think we can talk to these people like that is just my question. Why on earth? You would never say this to your friend, or if you would, you'd have a conversation with them. I don't know, but, like, you really wouldn't. Not something like that. That's just, hey, I want to be in a historical moment. I want to be there the day. It's like a hypothetical. Oh, I'd love to be there the day that whatever the Statue of Liberty came to New York. Whatever. Just some random historical event. I would love to be there. Not really. I don't care. I don't want to. But thank you, the French. But, cool. But that's just a hypothetical. I would love to be there. And in his situation is he can be there. And he wants to. So just, what? So weird. Calling him stuff like that is just warped. A lot of these people, and God, it just makes me so bummed, because I'll like click on a thing on Twitter that's just like, oh cool, this awesome highlight. First thing, James Harden is like a disgrace to basketball. How could he? And it's like, what? Because he went in for a layup and someone slapped him, so he got an extra point. It's just, this guy, I don't know. Seems like he didn't really do anything that wrong. I don't think everyone's got to take everything to the nth degree online. Anyway, I don't really have anything more on that. Just sort of a frustrating, like, fans are bad. They should be as far away from the players as possible. We got to protect these guys. It's getting bad. Or at least, like, we need training videos. We almost need to have like a psychological, like someone to, like, stand in front of the stadium to, like, have like a little test, like, what did the psychopath test be like? Okay, so, like, what would you do if Trae Young walked by you? I would bust his kneecaps. Okay, you cannot enter the building, sir. That is bad. That is bad. Moving on to more news. Chris Paul is back. The Suns are good. The Suns are going to be the winners of the West. I kind of have no doubt. And it's just up to the East to defeat the Suns. I can't believe they held on mostly without Chris Paul, and they're just going to be better with him. Cool. I didn't really have anything more to say about that, but just cool. I like Chris Paul. He's coming back. I like Chris Paul. Here's who I don't like. Eric Adams. What the hell, man? Why did any of... I'm just going to get sad again, because it's like, why did anyone lift these COVID protocols and vaccine rules? It's like, nothing happened. Nothing's changed. Cases aren't better. Why do we do that? Gosh, that's so dumb. It just makes me bummed. I guess Aaron Judge can play now. You did it, Eric. Whatever. I don't even want to talk about that. I just wrote it down because it happened. And now, Kyrie got what he wanted. Boo, 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 boo. March Madness. Speaking of people getting what they wanted, actually no one did. Kind of like what Eric Adams did. No one got what we wanted. And yeah, the March Madness bracket's crazy right now. That's been pretty fun. There's some games today. I'm not a betting man, but I do like betting in like a big pool. My friend Kaya has a big pool for March Madness. and he will get 10% if I win this year because he has had to remind me every single day to pick a team. And then I was late some days, but he still was like, okay, it's fine, but he wasn't thrilled. So I hopefully, who did I bet? It's like a, what do they call it? It's like a survivor draft, survivor pool thing. So it's like we pick a team once per day. And if that team wins, then we stay in. But if that team loses, then you're out. And I've been getting lucky, but I didn't realize that once you pick a team, you can't pick them again. So I shouldn't have picked Kansas, and I shouldn't have picked Villanova already, because, dang. Good thing I didn't pick Gonzaga, I don't think, so I can hold on to them for the end. But today, I need Arizona to win. And kind of how this whole thing's been going, who knows? It's up in the air, but hopefully I win that. March Madness is cool to watch. And I love upset schools. St. Peter's Peacocks. That is fun. Good for them. I really don't have anything to say about March Madness except for that Chet Holmgren looks cool. I hope he's good in the league. It's like a fun preview for who's to come. But then, like, sometimes, like, teams, you know, like, I remember getting tricked last year. And that was, like, the first time I really paid attention to March Madness. And, like, the players, I usually just, like, whatever, whoever wins, wins. That's fun. But last year, I was like, let me try to focus on some of these players. And I really thought, like, Jalen Suggs and Corey Kispert. Jalen Suggs and Corey Kispert are going to change the league. Like, I thought they were going to show up and be, like, unreal. Like, Trae Young type. Like, you know, just like immediate, or who's someone, you know, your Tyrese Maxey's, your immediate, like, I'm putting Tyrese Maxey in that category with Luka, Ja, Trae. Like, he could, you know, next year. I don't think that's an insane thing to say. That Maxey's current development, if he keeps at this rate, he could be one of those guys. You know, he could. Maybe a little delusional take, but my take, no less. I love that kid Maxey. But yeah, I thought, you know, March Madness sort of not tricks you like that, but like you get invested in these teams that win, but sometimes it's just like the team's really good or whatever. They got lucky that year because they didn't have to face this person, or this team got an upset and then that team lost, and then like they had a clear path to go. And you think like, man, is this team like, whoa, Davion Mitchell and Baylor last year. Whoa, is he going to be incredible? And it's like, he's really good. But, you know, he's a really good young guy. But he's not a league changer. Where like sometimes when they win March Madness, like, man, they're gonna really blow up in the league. So it's fun like that. I like Jalen Suggs. I saw Jalen Suggs in the summer league. And in New Orleans. Or no, that wasn't summer league. It was just preseason basketball, which is just fun to watch. It's like a big practice. Coolest thing about if you're ever in New Orleans and you're ever there for a preseason game, go. There's no one there, and you can sit really close. You can sit like basically courtside for like $15. Not even. I think I paid $10 and I sat like right behind where the courtside seats are. And I was just yelling stuff like, pass to Josh Hart. Pass to Josh Hart. And then they did. It's like they heard me, you know, like, and they probably did, and they probably were just going to do that anyway. But it felt cool to be like, in an almost quiet arena, to be like, Josh Hart's open. Josh is open. And they did, and he shot it. And I'm like, and I like, and I felt like, I'm like, I got the assist. That was really fun. Yeah, preseason's fun. Jalen Suggs was cool. That was fun. And the Wagners. It's cool that the Wagners are on the team together. Fun German boys. Let's read this article. Breaking down 5 realistic potential off-season trades. So after the season this year, these are 5 trades that might happen. And it's a picture of Russell and Evan Fournier, which already just guessing if that's one of them, I don't think that's a great trade. So let's see. First up, Hornets find their 5, Pacers fuel their rebuild. Charlotte Hornets would trade Miles Turner for Kelly Oubre Jr., JT Thor, a 22nd first-round pick. That's the lottery protected from New Orleans. But how high would that pick be? I still don't really know how picks work. I know lottery protected is good, and especially coming from New Orleans, I imagine that's good because of their standings. But New Orleans isn't bad enough that would be a top 5 pick at all. I don't even know if it would be a top 10. So I don't know how much that really. Though I guess the Indiana Pacers should just look into being like, because what are these? They're tank. They're trying to get a better spot for the draft. Yeah, honestly, I feel like they should find a buyer to try to get another draft pick. Maybe they could flip Miles Turner to Houston and try to get some of their draft picks, and then try to pick up Chet, and then Chet Holmgren and Tyrese Halliburton could really hit it off. Maybe that seems like a fun duo. But I see this all the time. This is like a big trade rumor during the deadline this year. That was like Miles Turner to Charlotte, and they got Montrezl Harrell, which I think is a great pick. If you can keep Montrezl Harrell, yeah, oh god, I love Kelly Oubre Jr. He's the hottest man in the league. But he, if you can flip him for Miles Turner, do it. That sounds like a great idea for Charlotte. Indiana, I think they could get more from Miles Turner. But yeah, Miles Turner would be a real hit over there in Charlotte. This trade. Portland would trade. The Trailblazers would trade Eric Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, a 22nd first round. Which seems like a big one. Because it'd be another New Orleans pick. It'd be the New Orleans pick they got for CJ McCollum. So, and that'd be 1 for 4 and 15 to 30. The Pistons would receive that. But they'd also get Eric Bledsoe and Keon Johnson for Jeremy Grant. Yeah, I mean, Detroit's definitely going to probably trade Jeremy Grant for whatever they can get for him. Oh my gosh. And just side tangent real quick. Can you imagine again? Remember that trade right before the deadline that everyone was like, the Sixers didn't take this deal? They're the biggest idiots of all time. And the trade was like Jeremy Grant, Kelly Olynyk. I don't even think Sadiq Bey was a part of it. And then 2 picks. I forgot who else it was. It wasn't Sadiq Bey, because Sadiq Bey was at least he was the good player. But it was basically just Jeremy Grant and Kelly Olynyk and 2 picks for Ben Simmons. Awful. That would have been terrible. And then everyone was like, they're the dumbest organization in the world. We held our cards. We got James Harden. Anyway, I'm so happy about that. Still. I hope Jeremy Grant can go on a cool squad. I wonder if he can go to the Lakers somehow. Or the Clippers. If the Clippers could. Well, no, because Clippers already have Norman Powell. Who's basically Norman Powell and Robert Covington equal one Jeremy Grant. So they're fine. Yeah, I guess that's a solid trade for Portland, but I don't know. I'd rather keep that pick maybe. Try to get someone in the 1 for 4. It's pretty good. I wouldn't do that if I were Portland. Okay, these are all kind of weird trades. For teams, I'm just surprised by some of these trades because this trade is John Collins would be traded to Sacramento for Harrison Barnes, Justin Holiday, and a top 10 pick. I know John Collins wants to go. I know he's not thrilled being there, but I think they can flip John Collins for someone better. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but right? Doesn't that sound like they could flip John Collins for someone better than a pick, Harrison Barnes and Justin Holiday, unless there's someone Atlanta absolutely loves in the draft. But I don't know. They could get I don't know. I honestly don't know. John Collins is such an interesting guy because he could be. I don't know. Maybe they could trade him for Christian Wood and someone else over there on the Rockets. That's not Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, if they could get Kevin Porter Jr., that would be a steal. I think that'd be a bad trade for the Houston Rockets, but something like that. They could. Is there someone on Ooh, how about this? John Collins for Tim Hardaway Jr. Because Tim Hardaway Jr. and then it'd be like, and then a couple other things. But Tim Hardaway Jr. has been hurt all year, and he's sort of fallen out of the lineup, and now Luka's best buddy, Jalen Brunson, sort of taking the reins over there, and a big who can cut and catch the ball would be pretty good for Mr. Doncic. Interesting pick. Okay, okay, this would be interesting. Speaking of Christian Wood, the Memphis Grizzlies would trade Steven Adams, DeAnthony Melton, Brandon Clark, and a pick for Christian Wood and Eric Gordon. If I'm, again, the Grizzlies, I say no. Like, clearly this core is doing something, and I think that's trading too many players. If you could somehow trade just Steven Adams and maybe one other person, but DeAnthony Melton and Brandon Clark are two pretty good guys, and John Morant has enough time to adjust. Like, it's not like he's in a win now situation. It's like, man, John he's not 28. Ja's 21. I think he can hang out with the squad for a little bit more. He doesn't need Christian Wood. I don't know how much better Christian Wood makes them. And then here we go. And the last pick would be the Knicks trade Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, and Alec Burks for Russell Westbrook and a 27 round pick. 2027 round pick, not 2027 round picks. That'd be the most picks ever traded. That'd be wild. I don't know how I feel about that one. That seems sort of like a wash for both teams, kind of. I don't see how either team gets better. You get more shooting for the Lakers. Russ and Mr. RJ Barrett sound interesting. Russ should go to, like, it'd be cool if Russ was in Atlanta. I think Russ would be really good in Atlanta. Him and Trey. This seems like this is just me just as a fan, because it's just like I just like these guys, and it'd be cool if some of these guys were on my team. Like, I was excited for DeAndre Jordan to be on the Sixers just because he's DeAndre Jordan. He's a cool name, and I used to love him when I was a kid watching the Clippers. But man, am I frustrated every minute he's on the court for us. I hate it. He's a zombie. Play Charles Bassey, please, dear God. Play Charles Bassey. He's amazing. I mean, he's not, but he's better. I'd rather Charles Bassey make mistakes than DeAndre Jordan. It's infuriating. So, but sometimes as a fan, I'm like, Tobias Harris for Russell Westbrook? Because Russell and James Harden played really good together in the Western Conference Finals in the bubble, but man, maybe that blew up weird. I don't know. That just seems mutually interesting. Well, I like reading trades, and I'm glad I read all those. What time am I at? Whoa, just looked at how much time I've been recording. I've been recording for 53 minutes. I was going to have a little TV corner, because I thought I wasn't going to have enough time. I thought I would have to fill for time, but I'm recording for an hour. Guys, this is the Stepover podcast. It's the only podcast that one day will step over Tyronn Lue. And if you know Ty Lue, or he's going to be at a movie theater sometime soon, let me know. This is the new Deadeyes. Cool. All right. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Bing, bing, bong, ba, bong, bong.